this next person I'm about to introduce is a very interesting young lady. I have actually met her before, but I couldn't remember where it was, so I sat out there talking to her for a while. She's from Toronto, Canada, but she currently lives in California. She travels the world and has lived in many, many countries. She's about building authentic relationships in philanthropy, something I know nothing about. She's also worked with billionaires since she's been 16, so a very, very interesting life. She loves cultures and calls herself the cultural chameleon, if that's the right word for it, and speaks many, many languages. Philanthropy is about the love of humanity. She helps philanthropists to put money in the right place to make sure there is an impact. Communication, connection, and relationships is what she's about, and she's developed a new model, but I can't say what it is, but I think she will. So I want you to now stand up on your feet and put your hands together for a walk in the park, Simmone Park. Woo! Let her rip!
Wow, this is amazing. This is amazing. Hello, I am Simmone Park, and as someone who considers herself a global citizen, it is absolutely incredible to be speaking to such an international audience. I mean, 60 countries? Is that for real? 60 countries? Wow. So I would just want to thank this organization for giving me such an incredible opportunity like this. And if I may, I kind of want to try something since there's 60 countries here. So, to the Afrikaans and Dutch speakers, anybody make a little noise? Welcome. And to the Chinese speakers, ni hao, huan ying. Okay, not so many Chinese speakers, that's okay. Les gens qui parlent français, bienvenue. Okay, a little better, a little better. How about the Filipinos in the house? Mabuhay. Okay. How about any Spanish speakers? Bienvenidos. Okay, excellent. And to the Swedish and Norwegian and German speakers, välkommen, välkommen, and willkommen. Anybody? Okay, figuring it out. And to the Arabic speakers, charaf tuna, ahlan wa sahlan. Okay. And to the English and Irish and Australians and New Zealand and anyone else I've overlooked, welcome. So I have prepared a talk on philanthropy, which is the love of humanity. And to be honest with you, my heart is really just compelling me to kind of take a different route. And I feel like you guys are all family. You know, I really just feel like an openness here. Would it be okay if I tried something? Yeah? You guys are okay with that? So thank you, by the way. Thank you for allowing me to do this. You know, this world, we're in a very critical moment in history. Like, this is something that everybody will be talking about later, our children, our children's children. And so I want to tell you guys a little story, and I know they told us not to, but I really want to do this. So we're coming up to the 1-year anniversary of me getting attacked at gunpoint. So yeah, that happened. And this is not going to be a victim story, so don't worry. But 1-year anniversary of me getting attacked at gunpoint, and this guy was beating me and hitting me with the gun, and I got knocked back, and my intuition was telling me, get up and fight for your life. So I got up and I fought for my life. And I didn't mean to, but I inadvertently wound up snatching his chain with my middle finger. So anyone who knows hip hop, that's actually a little bit significant. But the point of the story is what happens afterwards. So now, every time I'm out and interacting, and if I saw a black man, I recognize that my memories were giving me sensations that actually wanted to turn me into a racist. And so I'd have to train my brain and say, you don't actually believe that. That's not actually what you think. That's not a bad person. So I had to constantly train myself to say to my unconscious mind, I'm not going to be a racist. I don't actually believe that. That was the actions of one man, not an entire group of individuals that I'm going to blanket as being something that they're not. And I can happily say that now. Thank you. Now I've managed to work it to a space where I have compassion and empathy, and I'm thinking, how am I going to figure out how to work with gang members and people from the inner city that don't have access to opportunity, and say, how can we give them access to technology and entrepreneurship training and figure out a way to get them to help themselves and make some money? So I'm trying to figure out, where did I learn this? Like, how did this happen? And that sparked a memory of me and my 11th birthday party. So my family, we're Korean, if you didn't notice by the last name Park. So we're Korean, and we had just moved into this neighborhood, and we had a new restaurant. So I invited all of my little girlfriends, and I was super excited because 11's a big deal. And so we're eating, we're having a great time, and then something takes my breath away, and it is not blowing out the candles. I look to the windows, and there are 3 members of the KKK taunting me because apparently they didn't like that an Asian family was taking over in a very white neighborhood. So my father, who is a 5th-degree black belt, went outside and whooped their asses. But that's not even the point of the story. It's what happened afterwards. So after that happened, my father made it his mandate and his mission that he was going to convert these men to Christianity. And so he worked, and in the face of hate, he showed them love. And he worked, and in the face of hate, he showed them love again and again and again. And he even wound up lending one of those guys money to start up a business. And let me tell you this, after a couple of years of working very, very hard, I can happily say that he cleaned up that entire neighborhood of the KKK and neo-Nazi skinheads. Now, this brings me to my last story, and this is something that happened to me just last week. So I was headed to a breakfast meeting for young professionals in Long Beach, which is where I spend some of my time. And so I'm in an Uber. Oops, I don't know if I was supposed to say that. I'm in a vehicle that is supposed to transport me to get somewhere, that I use my app to get there. So we're in the Uber, and we're having this exact conversation. The idea of blanketing an entire race based on something that's happened to you in his life. So he's of Latin descent, and he says something along the lines of, well, of all the Latinas, the Mexicans are the craziest. And I said, wow, you look really young. I can't believe you've dated multiple people of every type of Latin country in the world. You must have gone around. I'm thinking, like, what, you've dated 2 Mexican girls, and now all of a sudden they're the craziest of all the Latinas? Like, that doesn't even make sense. And then all of a sudden, we look to our left, and there is a terrible, terrible car accident. So a car had essentially driven into a tree at top speed. There was no more front, it was all the way to the bumper. And so there's smoke coming out of this car, and we get out of the car. You know, I'm carrying my purse, and I'm in heels. It's just like a terrible thing. But everybody, didn't matter who they were, we all got out of our cars to help somebody that we couldn't see because the windshield was all broken, there was smoke in the car. We didn't know if they were black, white, Asian, male, female, LGBTQ. We didn't know if they were a Democrat or a Republican. We didn't know. We just knew there was a human being in need, and everybody got out, and we actually wound up smashing that windshield open. And we said, okay, this didn't work. How about this? I got a fire extinguisher in my car. How about this? Let's try this. And we worked together as humanity to step up. And let me tell you, seeing this person was very, very young who was in the accident. And I was just there, you know, with bones and blood, and I don't want to get too much into the details, but I was just looking him in the eye, and I was saying, help is on its way. Just hold on. You know, you're good. And so what that taught me was, we have to choose love in the face of hate. And if we come together as humanity, there's nothing that can hurt us. Because let me tell you, they're going to try to divide us. They're really going to try to divide us. And we have to just remember to stay united, stay strong, band together, because let me tell you something. I've traveled the world. I know that everybody's traveled the world here. I mean, we're a very unique group of individuals. We've all traveled, and we're all the same. Genetically speaking, from every single standpoint, we're all the same. We just grew up a little bit differently. So we might have a little bit of a twist. You know, if you're coming from the Nordic countries or from Scandinavia versus somewhere else versus the Caribbean, and what I've managed to do as a cultural chameleon, as I say it, is that you just figure out what did they have to deal with, and how can I make myself relatable to that particular culture. And it's really the most beautiful thing in the world. Like, every single person from every single culture in the world, you all have something amazing and beautiful to share. And I want to learn all of it. Like, I want to learn everything. So I haven't even touched my slide, because clearly this was just something that I was feeling compelled to share. So now maybe I'll talk a little bit about philanthropy, because I think this ties in very, very well to what I was talking about today. Philanthropy is actually the love of humanity. It's doing something without wanting anything in return, and it's doing something to try and make the world a better place. What I do best, because of all the experiences that I have, is to make authentic relationships. Like, I actually am one of those annoying people that I'm like, there are no strangers, just friends I haven't made yet. But I actually believe that. I wanna speak a language with you. I wanna speak your language. I wanna talk about the food that's from your country and share that how delicious that was when I was there. So philanthropy is something that I've actually dedicated my life to. Yes, I've done business and I've pitched, CEOs and heads of state and Forbes billionaires on global branding campaigns, but now what makes me happy is being able to travel the world and find great causes that are making discernible, positive changes in this world. So if you are doing something that is making a lasting and positive change on this world, and you might need help making some connections or finding access to money, please come and see me. And if you're a philanthropist or a foundation or a fund, and you have that money and you're looking for the right companies or organizations or nonprofits or causes to put that money into, but more importantly, make sure that it's gonna make an impact. So not just, let's throw a bunch of money and build a school, and we've touched the lives of this many children. Well, how many of those children are actually going to stay in that school and get the education, and what is going to be the impact, not just from a financial capital standpoint, but also human capital, social capital, intellectual capital, cultural capital? How can we define those things? So I've actually created something that can help with these areas. So I'm running out of time, and I know this, but if anybody is actually interested in the things that I'm sharing today, I would love to have a more in-depth conversation with you guys. So please feel free, even if you just want to speak a language. Like, I'm down with that too, If I don't speak your language yet, and if I've butchered your language in my intro, please let me know. Be like, that is not actually how you say it. And that's cool. I would love to learn a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and how we can connect on a human-to-human level. Thank you. Thank you.
Salamat po.